I just wanted to share with you sometimes well, they say the water, or Wim said, and I also know this to be true, that the water is like the mirror of your emotions. So when you go in it so frequently, it can kind of exacerbate what you're feeling emotionally. I feel like the water is feminine. She kind of like, you are part of the nature, and it can really draw out how you're feeling. So knowing this, probably about 4 years ago now, I was in a judgment cycle with someone, and I felt very judgmental towards them. I also felt very betrayed. I felt very confused, and I felt a little bit angry as well. So like all of like, you could say, low vibrations, which are just affecting me because I live in the stress, I live in the anxiety, and I live with the cortisol levels, which is all not good for my immune system or just my emotional health. So you can still hear me with all the rain. I decided to use the water as my therapy, and I went in and out of the water for about an hour and a half. So every time I had any sort of low feelings or anger or anything like that, I would go and put myself into the water, and the water will just strip you back from society's identity that I gave myself, and just strip me back to, I suppose, a place of compassion, where ultimately at the end I acted from that place when I finished my judgment cycle and I came back into society and made my call of what to do. I hope that makes sense. So any kind of, as I say, negative feelings or anything that I just felt that sort of drew me back into the water to just get it out of my head, because the water allows me to get out of my head and more into my body. I cried, I wept when I got out. As I said, it was an hour and a half. It was pretty intense, and I danced, I sang, and it was I was exhausted when I got back. But when any one of my friends at the time brought it up, I felt in such a balanced place to then answer, because I thought to myself, I am not doing that again for this person. I've already done it once, and luckily it was enough. I felt like a changed person. It's like judgment can cause separation, but it's separation with self outwardly, and ultimately I had a very honest, in that hour and a half, I had a very honest conversation with me and why it was bringing it up, what was it bringing up in me, and why did I feel this way. So it was like a reflection, and as I said, it was packaged up nicely with the water, because it really gave me vulnerability, but also gave me strength. It also gave me the insight to whether I should address that person, whether his annoyance, or I should just leave it, because it's not, if he doesn't recognize it, then that's okay too with me. It's not his time. So very interesting. I do use the water for more than just a cold dip, and I've used it again since, not to that intense, but I just thought maybe that might help, because I think there's a lot of maybe judgment going round, divide. So when I get to the water, if you can hear me, I would like to read something out, and I think it's very powerful. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I haven't even got to the waterfall yet, and I'm feeling waterfall wisdom. How amazing is that? So here's that powerful message I spoke about. All that time, beliefs were limiting you. They were giving you something too. That compassion you gained from being vulnerable. That wisdom that came from watching life at a distance. That faith that there had to be another answer. That supreme patience of putting one foot in front of the other. These are yours to use for the rest of your life. Losses, struggles, wounds, suffering, pain, sorrow, fear, hardships, trials, letdowns, and battles, and judgment cycles are not what any of us would choose. When they visit us, though, we get our greatest tools and treasures. Those tools and treasures can be heavy. Just like a bag of diamonds and gold, it can weigh you down. Which is why it's time for you to come into the spiritual significance of your challenges, because when you attach spiritual meaning to your treasures, it makes them light as light itself. Understanding this has been a game changer. So this is why I use the water's energy to tease out the judgment cycle and to make me understand to add a bit more spirituality in my day-to-day. The water does the rest for me.